Welcome everyone to the Transformation Summit. Together we are wise women rising for embodied change. I'm Alison Palmer, I'm your host, and I'm thrilled today to be speaking with Dr. Karen Kan. Now, you can read her full bio underneath here. Okay, please do have a look at it. And just to introduce her succinctly to you, she's a doctor of light medicine. She is a #1 international best-selling author. She's a visionary, a pioneer. She's the founder of the Academy of Light Medicine and the Tolpacan healing method. And we are going to be talking about 3 steps to uncover your soul mission today. So a massive welcome to you, Karen.
Thank you so much, Alison. I'm so pleased to be here with this amazing summit that you're putting on.
Yeah, I'm really excited about exploring this topic with you. And I do apologize for not pronouncing that your Tolpacan healing method with great ease. Sometimes I just get a little bit stumped.
Oh, it's not you. Most people call it all sorts of things. So you're good. You're good. Yeah, it's a little bit challenging of a name.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're probably going to hear something about this today during our conversation. And like I said, 3 steps to uncover your soul mission. And why I think this is such an important topic is because in the work that I do, I often come across women who say, I don't know what that is. I don't know what my soul mission is. I can't get the idea of a mission. And, am I going to fail in whatever I do if I don't know what my soul mission is? So I think this is brilliant that we're going to be talking about this. And so that's what I'd like to start with, actually, asking you what you mean by soul mission. And that's the first part of it. And the second part is, have you noticed any increase in urgency amongst people to discover their soul mission during these last few years? Has there been an increase in urgency or not?
That's a really great question. And I'll answer the second one first. Definitely. Definitely people, at least the people that come to me in the past, because I'm a medical doctor and doctor of light medicine. So I do, energy work as well as, have that left brain doctor hat on as well. When I work with people, people were coming in with all sorts of, can you help me with this autoimmune disease? You had fibromyalgia. I'd like to get better like you, and I have chronic pain. And we still get that. But now I noticed very recently that I'm getting more people, at least attracted to me, who are like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel a little lost and stuck. I know I want to help people. And some people have all these skill sets, but are just completely lost as to what to do with them. And others don't feel like they have any, and they don't feel like they're worthy of what they want to be doing. So yeah, I absolutely see a lot more people focused on why am I really here? And I think the wonderful thing about the last 2 years, the pandemic, is that people have had the opportunity, not that everybody's taken it, but to have that opportunity to really be introspective. And, when they're at home, they have nothing else to do except, binge watch Netflix or whatever, that they can choose to go within and go, whoa, something I feel is missing. And so that introspective opportunity has been really interesting to view and see many people going through. And most of these people are really highly sensitive and or conscious people who already, their personality, they've always wanted to be of service. So, they already had that going, but I think that the last 2 years has really prompted them to really ask that question, why am I here? What is life about? Is it just about going to work and getting this done and having the kids go to school and have them grade A's and, or is there more? And how I define soul mission, at least the way that I, teach it, and there's many different definitions, of course, but for me, I really enjoyed the work of Dolores Cannon, who was a very high level past life regression therapist. And she was able to work with thousands upon thousands of people doing past life regression, very, very deep, finding, where they came from and the different kinds of opportunities they had. And she actually found out a couple of years before she passed away, or how we say transition into the spirit form, because she's still talking to people apparently, that that the people she was meeting, or that the universe was bringing to her, were quite different. They were more like the people that I see every day, who I call sensitive souls. And some of them had very interesting other lives, including lives on other planets and things like that, which was very odd to her. But she outlined in her book, Three Ways of Volunteers, that she saw this pattern. And so my soul mission matrix, which I have in, I think, chapter 6 in my Sensitivities or Superpower book, helps people figure out what that soul mission is based on kind of her model. So her model was, are we here to be or vibrate a certain frequency, which a lot of her people that she did, past life regression, figured out that they were just here to vibrate the frequency of peace, for example, or joy or love. Those were the biggies. And there were other people that had more, instead of a being mission, they had more a doing mission. So the people with more a doing mission had more, let's say, practical 3D actions to take. Most people, when they think about their soul mission, they think about a job. They think about what am I supposed to be, a teacher, or am I supposed to be a healer or a counselor or a mentor? And here's the cool thing is, the way I define the soul mission is really, what's your foundational soul mission? Because if you are to be joy, for example, and that's it doesn't matter whether you're a janitor or, oh wait, they call them environmental engineers now. It doesn't matter if you're an environmental engineer, or you're a gardener, or you're a kindergarten teacher. It's really about being in that space of joy, love, peace, whatever your role is, while you're doing. So we're being while we're doing. And the people that have doing missions, maybe it's a little bit more specific, but it's also an overarching theme. So for example, one of my soul missions was a doing mission. I say was because it's you can actually finish your soul missions actually in this lifetime and move on to other ones, which is, it was a surprise to me that happens. So I had a protection mission, and it was protecting Mother Earth. And I thought, that's kind of weird. I'm not even nature girl. I'm the one that goes, ooh, spider, when I was a kid. But apparently me and Gaia have this really close connection, which is very curious to me. And so my job was to protect Gaia from certain energetic forces or malevolent forces. And we've done a lot of that. And that, so right now, is not my core soul mission. So for soul mission, we actually show people, like we're going to cover, the 3 steps to how to extract what your soul mission is.
That's so new to me to hear that, we can finish our soul mission in this lifetime, and then a new soul mission comes along. That's what you're saying, isn't it? We can connect into a new soul mission, or do we just?
Right. That was a big surprise too. Yeah, because I think, I don't know where we learned it. Like, you have only one for the entire lifetime. But here's the thing is, if someone's choosing to evolve themselves, and choosing that every single day consistently, the way that I've seen the last decade or so is that energies are quickening. A lot of people feel like time is running faster, things are changing quickly, and I think that's true of our evolution if we choose to step into that. So as we evolve faster and faster and faster, we end up, if we are choosing that path day in and day out, we end up being able to not only know what our soul mission is, but to actually do it and then complete it. And then there's another choice point, what else do I choose now? And that was really fascinating to me.
Wow, I love this, because you're so right. Where did we, decide this, that we have one soul mission and that's it? And if we can't find it, oh my goodness,
we're in trouble.
Yes. I think this is, and this is what, the Transformation Summit is about. It's about challenging our assumptions and just peeling back the layers so that we can say, hey, well, where does this come from? And so that is so brilliant. I wanted to just ask you a quick question here before we get into the 3 steps, is does everybody have a soul mission? That's the first part of it. And what happens if we we say, what happens to people who just say, oh, that's a load of rubbish, I don't believe that. Because I'm thinking, about us wanting to have transformation in the world. And I'm just thinking, if there's a whole load of people who have got this kind of block on, like no, a determined no, uh, what are the implications for that?
Yeah, again, another very, very insightful question. We somehow grew up with, we talked about that notion, we can even call them myths, that now that we have this one soul mission and we have to do it, in this timeline, and finish it. And oh my goodness, what if we don't, right? What happens then? And so I think that I've come to find out that some of these beliefs and energies are actually, to some degree, oh, that's a really strong word. I was going to say enslaving us, conditioning us to not feel good about ourselves. And so we have this social conditioning that you have to do something, that you're obligated to do something, or else, there's this bad consequence and this bad consequence. And this is where some of the, we talk about polarity, light and dark, good, bad. I mean, these are just all concepts. It's all part of the whole, right? But we play with these. And I think that's where some of the darker energies lie, is that sense of, there's not enough time, you got to get this done now. And if you don't, there are severe consequences, whereas I have found, and thanks to many wonderful, spiritual teachers, including one of my favorites, Neil Donald Walsh, I'm reading his book, Conversations with God, Part 4, highly recommend it. It's a sense of, instead of that, because you can feel it in your body, that sense of, I got to do this, what if I do, right? Then what if it's just at every moment you make that choice? And can it be okay that you don't purposely pursue your soul mission? Like that, people go, what do you mean it's okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We are eternal. We don't just have this body in this lifetime. At least that's my current belief. And I mean, some people may not ascribe to that, but I do. And which is why, some people are very active in the past life regression, because it helps people. There's something to it. So I believe that if people choose not to look at it, that is their prerogative, because I think one of the gifts that we were given as humans is the gift of free will and choice. Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't have a choice. It's like, actually you do. You do. Maybe there are consequences to that choice that you don't like. So therefore you're going to choose this or that. But we always do have a choice. So that is the freedom we truly have. And whether somebody, wants to do their soul mission or not, that's fine. But here's the thing. I've noticed that the universe, life, whatever you want to call it, God, source, whatever you want to call it, will prod you along, help you, and help to steer you in that direction. Why? Because as a soul, you asked to do that. So they're, as in like the universe, we're all one, but anyway, they're helping you to complete what you said you wanted to do. Because when you're back in spirit form, you're like, shoot, I gotta do it again. I didn't do any of that. And they're like, okay, So I think, I think that if people are not ready, they're not ready. And that's perfectly fine. We don't have to push people into it. We just do our stuff, because as we raise our vibration and look towards our soul mission to complete it, it elevates the frequency and vibration and love of the planet, which then encourages everyone to step into that as well. And that's what I'm seeing.
I just find this so refreshing, because there's this underlying, again, another assumption that everybody has a soul mission of some sort. And the people who are awakening, who are actually trying to discover what this is and to live it. And I'm going to be really honest here, because it's just coming to me that when we're in this group, we categorize ourselves as in this group, we tend to think of ourselves as sort of superior, morally superior or something to people who seem like closed off, who don't want to know. And this is just this assumption that we're putting, and it seems like a ridiculous way to look at the world. Now you're talking about it, so it's just brilliant, because who are we to go and say you must find your soul purpose or else? It's almost like it's crazy for us to put that upon people, and to feel that we have the right, or that it's it's what we should be doing. So I love what you're saying here, and to remember that we are souls, we're going to have other lives, and the next time, maybe if we haven't connected to our soul purpose, or we've chosen to not pursue it or not live it, then the next lifetime maybe we will, and the same with everybody else. So thank you. I think that was just absolutely refreshing.
Well, I'm glad that resonated with you, because I, for one, had this an internal feeling of pressure my whole life. Like, at the age of 5, I wanted to save the world. I just didn't know how, and just, yeah, exactly. So we have this pressure, and we're really hard on ourselves, but we're conditioned to be that way. And in fact, a lot of our religions have supported in some way, shape, or form kind of a tyrannical dictator kind of God, unfortunately. And so we've absorbed a lot of these teachings from our education system, from religions, that we must do this and we must do that. And so it's just a habit for us to do that. And when I realized, wait a second, there's no rush, because it's a sense of scarcity, right? If we're feel like we rushed, we have to do it in this lifetime, we have to accomplish. That's not, the spiritual path, if you will. That's a distortion of it. So that really freed me, and I dropped the stress and realizing, everyone's doing the best they can with the level of consciousness they have, and we're all growing in that consciousness. So better we just, focus on our own stuff and what helps us create that joy and purpose internally in our world.
Just brilliant. I love that. I love it. So thank you. Let's move now into these 3 steps for finding out what our soul mission is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to just let everyone know that I've outlined these steps step by step in chapter 6 of my Sensitivities, Your Superpower book. So this book is really for, conscious, sensitive people of pretty much 100% of your tribe and mine, who are interested in really stepping into who they really are, their full selves. So with the Soul Mission Matrix, it's a model on how we can extract and figure out what our soul mission is right now in this timeline. So the 3 steps are: number 1 is identifying. I'll go through what each of these means. Number 2, doing the extraction or extracting. And number 3, detailing. So identifying, extracting, and detailing. So the extraction piece is really figuring out, do we have a doing mission or a being mission, or a combination of both? And it kind of simplifies things in those categories. Thank you, Dolores Cannon, for that concept. And so how do we figure this out? Well, we do it through what I call divine muscle testing. This is also taught in the book in chapter 5, I believe. Yeah, chapter 5, where we connect to or align ourselves with the 0-point field. Some people will call it a meditative state. I like to call it, stillness on the fly. And there's techniques in chapter 4, in case people don't have a technique already. Mine tends to be very fast because I like speed. So, 3 minutes or less, you're connected there. And then you do divine muscle testing. And a lot of people already do muscle testing, getting yes and no answers. So what we do is we teach them one of the methods, which is the body sway method, to get a yes or no from the universe, if you will. So you're in the stillness space, you align, and then you go ahead and do your ask. And this is actually the first 2 parts of the Topican healing method, is the align and ask, so that the mechanics of that are the same. So what happens is that we, in this space, we say, do I have a doing mission? And if the answer is yes, in this case, with the sway method, you sway forward. Do I have a doing mission? If that's also a yes, you'll also sway forward. If it's a no, you'll sway backwards. And there's different ways of muscle testing. And we teach, like in our Topican healing method, about 6 or 7 different ways. But the sway method is the one that's easiest to learn for most people. And even children do it like literally right away. So we just ask that question. We align and then we ask, do I have a doing mission, being mission, or both? So that's the identifying. So once you figure it out, step 2 is the extraction piece. Now there's a chart in the book which has the most common being missions on a column and the most common doing missions in another column. So literally what you're doing is you're reading out each line and then feeling your body, whether it be swaying forward or backwards. Is my being mission this, and if it is, you sway forward. If it's not, you sway backwards, and you go through the list slowly. I would say slowly, meaning like, just if you're new to muscle testing, taking your time and not thinking too much about it, just kind of feeling the body, being in the body. So when you get a yes and you write that down, most people will have, a single being mission, sometimes 2, but in this one, how we ask it is, what is my being mission, or what is my mission in this body and timeline? Is it being or doing? If it's being, what's my being mission in this timeline right now? At this moment, right now. And oftentimes we'll get just one or 2, maybe 2 max of those. If it's a doing mission, and I'll actually read these off to you, the being and doing missions are, for example, being would be, joy, peace, love, acceptance, oneness, power, contentment, awareness, connection, openness, compassion. That's the example. The doing missions might be, remember, these are 3D actions: healing, empowering, grounding, integrating, protecting, teaching, counseling, coaching, supporting, innovating, creating, transmuting, transforming, learning, awakening, communicating, facilitating. And there's probably more. It's just these are the common ones that we come about. Some people in stillness will actually tune in and a word will pop in their mind, what that is. So you don't have to use the chart, but the chart's there just for ease. So that's step 2, is figuring out which of those things it is. And then step 3 is detailing. So this one is actually on the 3rd column. And the 3rd column is kind of like the details. So for example, especially if you're have a doing mission, you might want to know, well, who am I helping in this timeline? And same thing with a being mission. Who am I helping in this timeline? Some people are amazed that the who could be all of humanity. And they're like blown away. Wow, my mission is to help all of humanity. OMG, right? But that is not uncommon. Just because even if they have a being mission, being joy, it could be like who you are helping. You're helping all of humanity, being joy. Now, other times it's very specific. Like somebody might have, who is it? Humans? Is it non-humans? Is it spirits? Is it women, men, children, right? And some people might go, it's women. That's their main target for this mission. And then we have the what. So the what is like, what's the process? Like if you have a doing mission. So is it that you're doing like group stuff? Are you doing one-on-one stuff? Are you doing mentoring? We also have the how. So the how could be, is this in a job where you get paid, or is this volunteer? Some people are upset because, it's volunteer. But I'm like, hey, you can do whatever you want for a job. You know what I mean? So this is on the side. It doesn't mean that you have to be suffering in a job, but you get to do what you love as a volunteer. And then we also have where and when. So the where is it specific to a geography? Do you need to be in Costa Rica, for example? Many people like that one. To do your doing mission. And then the when is, when are you to start it? Now, for most people I see, they're in their, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. So a lot of times it's already, you've already started it, or now is the answer. But for example, we might have a 5-year-old. And sometimes it starts then, or sometimes it's like not yet, and sometimes we're not allowed to know when they're really, really young, but sometimes we are. So I had a 6-year-old, for example. She was an old soul, meaning she had other lifetimes as very evolved being. And at the age of 6, she was actually seeing dark angels, like negative entities and ghosts and things like that. And but her role was to actually heal them. And I'm like, a 6-year-old? But remember, she's an old soul, right? So we did get to know what her role was, and we taught her how to do it, and she found her own way. So now when these dark angels come to her, she's not scared anymore. She does her little prayer, they heal, she's happy, family's happy, she's not having breakdowns anymore, you know what I mean? And she got to help these. So it is what it is. So in that case, she was doing it at age 6, right? Other people, it might be not till they're 12 or 20. And then, sometimes, the other question we ask is why? What is the purpose of us doing what we're doing or being what we're being? And most of the time, it has to do with the evolution of the species. Mm. Sometimes it's about evolving, helping to evolve the universe or the multiverse. So the why question may or may not be, necessary in that, but that's the whole process, the identifying, and then the extracting, and then the detailing.
Wow. And it sounds as if you could do this, and like you said, you like to move along quickly yourself, and so you could discover this, your soul purpose. You could uncover your soul mission quite quickly. And then I was thinking, wow, so you've got all this clarity and you've got this information, and maybe you just feel it in your body. Yes, this is a yes, I can really feel this. And yet it can feel like, okay, so now I've got to actually do it. So that can be a big hurdle for a lot of people, I guess. My experience is that, most people find it difficult to transition or to embrace change, because, we're hardwired our brains are hardwired to kind of find that very scary. So how can we, once we've got this uncovered, are there any things that we can do to actually make that transition into doing it or being it easier, more fun, or so we don't postpone it? We don't just say, okay, I've got that, I'll put it on the shelf, I'll come back to that next year when I'm ready.
Yeah, that's a great question too. Definitely for the folks that have a being mission, sometimes they go into a place of slight disappointment because they want someone outside of them to tell them what to do. And this is very common of all of us to some extent. And so they're like, wait a second, I don't have to do anything, I just have to be. So then they have to deal with those emotions in a way to go, wow, you mean I can choose to do whatever I want and just be joy? Okay. So they're like, so that can be a little disconcerting. But by the time that at least the people that I see, when they're looking for their soul purpose, when we actually help them with the extraction, if they happen to be a VIP client, for example, or they're working with our, certified practitioners, or in our Topacan level 1 group, and they're doing it, for themselves and getting feedback, what they notice is that they're like, this totally makes sense. So they'll do an extraction and they'll do, wow, okay, my doing mission, it totally makes sense. No wonder I am gravitating to this or that. Or some people go, oh, I've been doing that for decades, right? I just didn't have words to describe what I was doing. And a lot of them feel relief because they're like, oh, I have this real great desire to do this business. And and there's other ways where we can test in Topacan healing what the alignment is for doing that particular business at that particular time in that particular location, and that's beyond what we can talk about today. But they get a lot of feeling of relief in a way, because sometimes at times it would be like, okay, format, what's the format? Okay, you're to do 1-to-1 and 1-to-many, and you're to mentor. And they're like, okay, I can kind of get that. And then we can ask even beyond. So 1-to-many, what is the maximum number of group members that would be for your highest and greatest good if their mission is now, right? And we might get the number 1,000, and they might have a little bit of a freak. So, but I was like, let's take a look at, the timeline. When would it be for the highest greatest good for you to be 1 to 1,000? Or, there's different ways of asking that, but it might be in the next 9 months or the next 18 months. We can get really sophisticated answers that way. And they go, okay. and you know what? Again, there's nobody pushing or lighting a fire, literally, to push you to go as fast as as you think you need to go, but people are in that desire mode to change their lives by the time they get to asking their soul mission. So emotionally, it can be disconcerting, but at the same time, just knowing is so empowering that they can make better decisions.
Yes. And what's really come clear to me as you were talking there is that we can shelve another assumption here, an assumption that we're going to be judged. Because I was thinking, okay, so what if your being mission is to be joy? And then you have lots of days when you just think, oh, I don't feel joy at all. I was going to say some bad words there, but I just don't feel joy, and I can't feel joy. And in fact, I feel really angry instead, whatever it is. And, we could judge ourselves badly. We could assume that other people who are, a bit more awakened, or who we've spoken about this to, will judge us badly. And the same with the doing of our soul mission. That it strikes me that once we feel that sense of alignment, and we keep, I love the expression you were using. I use it too, in everyone's highest best interest. And I always say, including mine, just to make sure that it's in there. But having that there, that, if we bring that in, you brought it in particularly with the doing, it removes that sense of anybody else judging, because it's however it's unfolding, is in everyone's highest best interest.
Oh yeah, that's beautifully said. And we pretty much knocked down 3 myths, right? With regard to
Yes.
soul missions. We have 3 steps and 3 myths. I love threes. So that's fantastic. That's a really good point. Because when we're judging, again, it's a conditioned thing. It's like I call myself jokingly the recovering perfectionist, because I just wanted everything to be perfect, and I wanted to do everything perfect and not make any mistakes, because I was taught that making mistakes is bad. But it's actually part of our evolution. So if we're not willing to experience whatever we're experiencing, then we actually don't move. We actually become stuck. And that was me. I just wouldn't do anything that I wasn't already good at. Seriously. And then I tried figure skating, and I was terrible at it, just terrible. And I wanted to quit after 2 weeks. And my then husband said, look, just because you're a medical doctor, you don't be good at everything. And I realized he was right. I was thinking I need to be better, perfect, whatever. So I was so afraid to do anything that wasn't already really, really good at. But of course, why would I be good at figure skating? I was never taught figure skating, right? So, and so I stuck with it. And, now it's 21 years of adult figure skating with probably 15 medals. In now the last one in 2019, 3, disciplines: ice dance, pairs, and singles. So, and I'm still working on harder elements as I age, I'm still working on that elusive axle, 1.5 rotations in the air, landing on this 1/4-inch blade, and is it scary? It is. But the neat thing is, like, giving up that perfectionism and what you're talking about, that judgment, is so freeing. And for people like you, were a great example too, about feeling joy and then having anger in that moment. We don't need to judge ourselves for the anger. The quick way back to joy is through the body. So in chapter 4 in the Sensitivity Is Your Superpower book, that stillness through observing internal movement we teach in there, which is like step 1, our alignment to the 0-point field, and doing the muscle testing. When you're feeling angry, the best thing to do is actually feel it in the body. Just accept that it's there and just go, what does anger feel like in my body? And just notice it and pay attention to it. Because what happens is you enter the 0-point field again. And then as you enter that field, whatever is ready to clear actually auto clears itself, which is really cool. And then that is your pathway back to joy. We don't have to force ourselves to feel something we don't feel. When we're feeling angry, upset, and we have, a little subchapter in there called STOIM for negative emotions, feel the body, be in that space. And guess what? Right out of the 0-point field grows love, joy, peace is actually created from that field. So that's how we get back to our being.
Fantastic. And my last just take on that is, it reminded me of, we think that if we were perfect, we would, which we are anyway, but if we were the even more perfect version of ourselves, which didn't make any mistakes, we would and say we were being joy, we'd be this amazing joy all the time. But the thing is that we only know joy because we know what it's like when we're not in joy. And if we were in joy all the time, it would become obsolete because, we wouldn't even notice it. So
Right. We wouldn't appreciate it. And that's the game that we play. We play in opposites, and we don't appreciate things unless we can feel, see, hear, experience the contrast. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
yeah. Well, this has been just a real delight talking with you, and we've really moved stuff today, shattering those myths and everything. So I know that people are going to want to know, okay, well, what's possible, how do they find out more about you? And you've got some gifts to share with people. So would you like to speak to those?
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things that, speaking of, when we're feeling angry and upset, things like that, especially what's going on the last couple of years is that we are actually becoming more gifted in our intuition and sensing. And we talk about the sensing gifts in the Sensitivity is Your Superpower book, because many of us conscious souls are getting better at it, but don't know we are. So what happens is sometimes that anger that we're feeling, that irritability, actually doesn't belong to us. It actually belongs to mass consciousness or the collective unconscious. And being a sensitive person, I know now, because I practice the stillness for 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time, multiple times during the day. I can tell when it's me and when it's not me. So it takes a little while to figure that out. But when I get the irritability, whatever, I'm like, oh, I wonder whose stuff this is. What's really neat is the free gift we have is called the Clearing and Protection Spray Formula. So it's very simple, but still powerful formula. There's energy infusion into the MP4 video. So it's energy infused. And what you do is you take a spray bottle, and a clean spray bottle, and put water in it. I like to put a little pinch of Himalayan crystal salt because the trace minerals hold the frequency really, really well. And what you do is you play the video, and these beneficial energies, these positive energies, get infused into the water. So you can literally play the video, hold or look at the water while you're playing the video and say, infuse this. And after about 9 seconds, it finishes, although the whole MP4 is 3 minutes. But I find children really just love looking at the little pictures as they go. They're just mesmerized by that. So it's probably good just to watch as well. But you can just, there's people have had little spray bottles in their purse. And what that does is it automatically clears negative energy that's around your auric field, stuff that is not yours. It also helps to clear the space. We've had several people say, oh my gosh, I sleep so much better after spraying my bedroom. My child at night, he's got so many games and violent video games and things that he has. And when I spray his room without him looking, and he comes back, he's actually not that interested in playing these violent video games. He's calmer, he's nicer. When he comes home from school, sometimes he's angry. And when he comes into the house, it just kind of all falls off him because the house is conditioned. So it's a wonderful way to condition the home. We recommend doing that once a week. And then if somebody themselves feels a little off or stressed, it's a great little pick-me-up. Feel free to, if you like essential oils, you can add that in, but the frequencies are very, very powerful in kind of clearing your auric field and your space. So I think that could be, a form of instant joy.
Yeah.
And then we have gifts actually associated with the book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower. So it's a book you can get, online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, that kind of thing. But also, if you're an ebook reader and prefer that, we actually have it at the website as well, sensitivityisyoursuperpower.com. And wherever you buy it, you can actually go to that site, sensitivityisyoursuperpower.com, and put in your name and email address, and then we'll send you a link with about $1,000 of bonus gifts that go with the book. And some of these are meditations, some of these are like mini healing experiences, some of these are coaching, and I have several of my colleagues and spiritual teacher friends actually also donating some of their work to this bonus, just to add value to anyone who is, making that commitment to really learning more about themselves. So I'm super excited to be able to offer that.
Wow. So everyone, the links are below here. So if this is speaking to you, that's the place to go right now. Karen, this has just been amazing and inspiring and reassuring as well. And I really thank you for coming along and talking about this and sharing it with us today.
It was delightful. Thank you so much, Allison, and thank you for inviting me, and big love to you and your tribe.
Thank you. Thank you. And everyone, thank you for joining us today. And as always, I will put this request out. If you would like to share what's come up for you as we've been talking today, we would love to hear from you. So all you need to do, just pop a few words into any of the summit emails and say it's, in response to what happened for you in Karen's interview, and share it with us. And anything that you pass to me, I'll pass on to Karen as well, because we like to keep the energy moving, and we're all in this together. So if that speaks to you as well, please do that. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us. And a final massive thank you to you, Karen. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, everyone.